We're about to dive into an idea that starts with a strange problem in physics and ends by making you question absolutely everything you think you know, your memories, your life, and reality itself. So get ready. So let me just start by asking you a question. How sure are you about your past? I mean, that memory of your first day of school or what you ate for breakfast this morning. Are you 100% certain any of that actually happened? Because we're about to jump into a thought experiment that suggests your entire life, right up to this very second, could be a complete and total fabrication. Okay, let's start with this wild concept, the Boltzmann brain. The idea is that in a huge, quiet, empty universe, random quantum jitters over an unimaginable amount of time could theoretically just pop a fully formed, conscious brain into existence. And here's the really unsettling part. If you were one of these brains, you would never know it. You'd spark into existence right now, but your mind would come preloaded with a lifetime of fake memories, of friends, family, good times, bad times. Your whole past would just be a story that never actually took place. Now, as crazy as this sounds, this idea doesn't come from some sci-fi movie. It actually comes from a genuine puzzle in physics, a big problem with cosmic probability. Okay, so here's the heart of the issue. Our theories say our whole universe started as this massive quantum fluctuation. But a single brain, that's way, way simpler. It takes a lot less energy, a lot less organization than a 13.8 billion-year-old cosmos. So if things are just randomly popping into existence, a small, simple fluctuation should be just astronomically more likely to happen than a gigantic, complex one. Which leads us to this deeply weird question. Just based on the pure statistics, it is more probable that you are a lone, hallucinating brain than it is for this entire, stable universe to be real. So, why do we find ourselves in the less likely scenario? That, right there, is the Boltzmann brain paradox. This paradox has really pushed physicists to think about some other, maybe more elegant solutions, even if they sound just as strange. What if the answer isn't a lonely, fleeting brain, but something else entirely? What if there's a kind of middle ground, an entity that's conscious, like a brain, but also stable and evolving, like a universe, a sort of brain universe that's way simpler and statistically cheaper to create than our own massive cosmos? You see, this brain universe wouldn't waste all its energy making stars and galaxies. No, its basic building blocks would be units of thought, running on much simpler rules. This totally solves the probability problem, because it's so much cheaper to make. And it could even explain the fine-tuning of our universe, why our physics seems perfectly set up for life, without having to imagine a bajillion other universes in a multiverse. And that, of course, leads to a pretty profound question. If we exist inside a thinking universe, what does that make each of us? What are you and what am I? Well, in this model, every single conscious mind, you, me, everyone who has ever lived, is just a fragmented piece of one single cosmic mind. It's an idea that you might have seen in Andy Weir's famous short story, The Egg. We are all just different angles of one huge consciousness experiencing itself. So what does that mean for the world around us? It means our physical world, what we call objective reality, isn't the fundamental reality at all. It's more like a shared illusion, a dream, or maybe an interface that lets all these different fragments of the one mind interact with each other in a way that makes sense. Okay, I know what you're thinking. If this is all just some big cosmic dream, isn't there some way we could prove it? Couldn't we design an experiment to kind of peek behind the curtain? Well, this is where it gets really tricky. Imagine an experiment. Scientists predict you'll choose the blue pill, and they write that down and seal it in an envelope. But then you use your free will and choose red. Now, in our world, the prediction is just wrong. But in a universe that is fundamentally a thought, your choice could ripple backward in time and retroactively change the note in the envelope to red. The prediction is always right, because the illusion just rewrites the past to keep itself consistent. This thought experiment shows how this whole idea might be unfalsifiable, literally impossible to prove wrong. And according to the philosopher Karl Popper, that puts it outside the strict definition of science. He argued that for a theory to be scientific, there has to be some kind of experiment you could do that could, at least in principle, prove it's false. But, and this is the key thing to remember, unfalsifiable does not mean impossible, not at all. So while we might never be able to prove it with an experiment,
This idea of a self-observing universe is still a really powerful and plausible way to think about our reality. And it happens to solve some pretty deep problems in physics along the way.
And so that leaves us with one final, just absolutely staggering thought. If this entire cosmic drama, all of history, all of science, art, love, and pain, is just the inner world of a single mind, and we are its thoughts, then what in the world is it thinking about? This whole mind-bending line of thought is drawn from the chapter Boltzmann Grains and the Self-Observing Universe, which is in the book Simulated Reality. So if you want to dive even deeper down this rabbit hole, there's a link to the book right in the description below. Thanks for joining me on this one.